Hey, what's up? It's Paul from Guitar World, and I'm here with Rick Heins from Fender. What's up, Rick? How are you?
Good.
Glad you are here. So tell me about this brand new amplifier. It is the Rumble LT25, which is, say, the little brother or in line with the other Rumble amplifiers like the Stage and the Studio. What is new about this?
Well, the Rumble amps that Fender's been making for quite some time are one of the best-selling amps of all time at this point. People have responded very well to them, bass players, because they sound great, they're light, they're portable. To your point, the Rumble Stage and Studio took all those elements, but we gave bass players more flexibility by adding amp modeling and effects and stuff. And so it's a lot of fun. You have all these traditional Fender amps and other bass amps, tons of effects. But there's a lot of things you can do with it. It's Bluetooth, it's Wi-Fi.
Right.
The Rumble LT25 takes its cues from those, but in a way it's more intuitive, it's a little more simplified, it's not Bluetooth, it's not Wi-Fi. It's about getting great tones at home for fun,
Right.
jamming with friends or just, quieter practices and stuff. But it still has all the flexibility of all the different amp models and effects.
Right.
And so it's just one of those where it's like, it's light, it sounds great, really flexible, and there are just tons of great features that we'll talk about.
So basically the idea here is basically having a ton of sounds, and it's just a plug and play amp just to get going and really be able to practice and have fun with, right?
Yeah, and the thing we've noticed about bass players, we'll be honest here, I'm not a bass player. I love playing bass, but I know this about players in general, especially bass players these days, is that the traditional bass player is like, I just have my sound and I play in the background and hold down that. That's still a cool functioning thing in most bands, but a lot of times now bass players are excited about exploring more sonic palettes,
Yeah. Gotcha.
being more expressionistic with what they do effects-wise and otherwise. So there's kind of a sea change happening where bass players aren't relegated to having one tone. They can have several tones.
Right.
So this falls in line with that. Whereas like if you want traditional sounds, they're in here, but it's going to take you in places that maybe you didn't think about going, or
Right.
give you other tonal options that are unique and fun.
So it's interesting to what you're saying. So this is kind of a cool, sort of micro platform to like experiment. Like, you know what? I'm not ready, fully committed to bring these kind of different sounds to my bigger rig. But let's start here and see where it goes. And then maybe I can tweak and tailor that because I have something like this that allows me that versatility and hear the sound before I commit. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those where, bass players, like I said, are coming out of just that simple tone, and now it's like seeing what they like, what they don't like, adding stuff, and becoming those sonic makers like guitarists are too. So why should guitarists have all the fun, right?
Amen. All right. Well, let's take a listen and hear some of the sounds that are built into the Rumble LT25.
Sure. So not unlike the Mustang LT25, it has 30 presets, which is a cross section of our favorite Fender bass amps, other bass amps that are very famous, with some tweaks here and there, everything from traditional to a little bit more out there.
Sure.
But there is an additional 20 presets that are available in the amplifier.
So the same thing as the Mustang series.
Exactly. So you have the 30 that are built in that you can customize and save. But if you go into the menu when you go to save and you press replace, we've actually included an additional 20 presets that you can get to that have other sounds that you can use, and you can save them into a different preset on the amp. So let's say preset 4 is in your bag and you find something that's preset 30, just save it in that position, and now you have that tone in there. So 30 presets, but 50 total.
That's great. So Fender gives you Easter eggs. Remember that.
That's right.
That's good.
Yes, before Easter. But it's very intuitive. All the knobs on the front work the same way like a bass amp would. So let's say you're playing and you need a little bit more bass or treble. You can use the knobs and it interacts immediately. The encoder is the easiest way to get to the amplifier and all the effects that you have. So you have an amplifier model. You have 4 different types of effects you can use at one time: modulation, pedals, reverbs, and then delays. So you can combine those in any number of ways. And we'll tweak a preset so we can see how that sounds in just a moment.
Great.
But it's one of those things where it's like if you record, it's got USB out, so you can go directly into your home recording station. You can also use that if we have any updates as far as presets or
Sure.
things, you can do it that way. It has headphones, so you can silent practice, aux in, so you can
Yep.
play along with your favorite tracks. And then it has a foot switch function where you can actually use a one-button foot switch to access your favorite preset. Yeah. So, yeah, why don't we go through a couple of the presets so we can show all the different sounds that it has.
Great. Let's take a listen.
I'm just going to start with preset number 3. And that is based on the traditional Rumble amps that we already make that are, like I said, very popular, sound great, portable, light. This is the sound coming right out of it.
Very cool.
All right, so something a little more traditional. Why don't we try something a little less traditional? This is called organ tone. So this is based on more of like an old vibrating, rotating speaker.
Yep.
So with this, it sounds like a bass, but at the same time, you can get those really cool sort of jazzy organ tones.
Very cool. You're almost getting that little bit of that Deep Purple John Lord keyboard thing going.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely, absolutely.
Nice.
So that's going to take you in like a totally different direction, might make you play a little differently. That's the fun thing. We've got one called slap bass. Now, I'm not the biggest proponent of slap bass where it's tasteful, where it's necessary.
It's okay, Flea.
But you definitely can get some of those tones as well.
That's cool. Really got that sound down. That's good.
So this one's called Synth Fuzz. It's got a step filter on it that does this really sort of interesting thing to the sound. You add fuzz on top of it, and then you get the very sort of keyboard sound.
That's really cool. That's amazing.
So that one's fun. Even something like this that actually...
You will need a pick.
This one's called Flanger Bass. I'm bringing out a pick. I know I'm cheating right now, but there are some bass players out there that do
Definitely
use this, and it's a great effect sometimes. So.
I think you just wrote a Tool song there.
Possibly. Maybe on the
That's
next
pretty
album.
great,
I don't know. I mean, it's at some point I think it's coming out. So yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Tool, if you're listening, please check it out. So let's see. Let's try some other things. Punchy Octave. I like this one too. This has got a good feel.
That's cool. Again, like as what I'm hearing is like it's understated, but you know, it's a great foundational tone to kind of sculpt your own, you know, preset from that. So that's really a very cool thing that Fender has done. It's not like totally over the top. It's just enough to get you going.
Yeah, it might spur on a a riff that takes you to a song or whatever. It's like, that's the way I see it. The thing that we noticed with the Rumble Stage and Studios is that when we put them in the hands of professional bass players, they got lost for like a half an hour to an hour just checking stuff out. And I feel like this takes you in those places.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's really fun.
Yeah. And that to me is just that's the point that keep you playing, right?
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, this one is called Rumble OD. And it's based on the Rumble amp, but with the overdrive channel on top of it. So it's got a nice sort of growl to it.
Very cool.
There you go. I was using that pick again. I probably should put it away before they revoke my bass card.
I heard some old Fleetwood Mac OL in there. That's
there you go.
Good.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, so I'm going to access that Easter egg menu that I was talking about. I'm going to go into past the first 30 that we had here, and I'm going to go to one called Heartbreaker. I'm not going to say what it is, but it might be reminiscent of something to you.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. Wow. So tell me also about the additional buttons that are next to the encoder knob.
Yeah, we kept it very simple as well with everything else. So you've got a back button. So as you're going and modifying the effects and the amplifiers, if you need to back out, that's how you use the back button. Save is what you would think, saving in that preset or finding the additional presets we talked about. Menu will help you assign for the one button foot switch and some other functions that just as far as recording and otherwise. And then the tap button, which actually works as a tap tempo for delays. But if you press and hold it, it actually becomes a tuner and you can tune directly from the amplifier, which is a nice feature.
That's cool. Yeah, and as we had mentioned before, that the encoder here is just so intuitive, so simple, like just being able to scroll by rolling on that portion and then just selecting just from the top button. It's all linked into one. And of course, you basically almost don't need the top buttons here unless you need to tweak on the fly, which is really,
absolutely.
It's a great control set.
Well, why don't I do this right now? Why don't I go into one of the presets and just show you how easy it is to edit it?
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm on the Rumble preset right now. I'm going to press the encoder. You'll see that it has the amplifier, stomp, mod, EQ, and delay. You can go into the amplifier, adjust it, pick between several different amplifiers. You can adjust anything in that amplifier as far as bass, gain, middle, and treble. You back out. Now I'm going to go to stomp, and I'm going to add, we'll do an overdrive, go in modulation, and I'm going to add chorus, back out, go to EQ. Now I can set up the EQs however I'd like to. Back out, and then delay. I'm going to pick this delay, and I'm going to adjust the time. Back out, and now I'm ready to go. All I need to do is hit save, and now it's saved. Okay, so I know I mentioned about the Easter egg. This is how easy it is to access those additional presets. I go into save. You'll see that it says save, save as and replace. If I go down to replace and press it, you go past the first 30, and you'll see all the additional presets. So I'm going to pick Heartbreaker and press that. Now I can save it in that position.
So there you have it. The Fender Rumble LT25 is an incredibly fun practice amp for bass players. But more importantly, it's a creative amp, as demonstrated here by Rick. There's just jam-packed with a lot of great sounds and just inspiring sounds where it allows you just to kind of get lost in what you can do just for your bass playing skills, right?
Absolutely, even if you're not a bass player.
Right, like me and you. But you seem to have nailed all the Geddy Lee and John Paul Jones stuff. So just for that, I highly recommend it. So definitely check out the Rumble LT25. See you next time.